Salam. Dakike Lemba Beta EziraEl. Salam to all progeny and descendants and offspring of Beta EziraEl around the world. I send my salam greetings from my royal cause in Santiago, the Chile in South America. This is King BINYAM SELAMUN of Lemba Beta EziraEl speaking. I should like to address all children of Israel around the world, all the children of Beta Israel that belong to this kingdom. I'm here to represent the kingdom of Beta Israel for all children of Israel around the world. And this evening I have a special message I should like to pass to all children of Israel through this medium of instruction and communication to get some message across so that everyone can begin to understand me through the internet platforms like this, to explain certain things, mostly misconceptions that we had, but also to explain the progress made within the kingdom. So I should like to first of all distinguish all members of the royal family, the princes and the princesses of this kingdom in the royal courts. I should like to distinguish the Queen Mother, Queen Solomon, Solomon, the mother of the reigning monarch, and to distinguish all royal dignitaries of this kingdom and all children of Israel in general, to be given salam greetings from the royal courts where I'm sitting right now. I should like to be grateful to all children of Israel for having been attentive, being able to follow our information on social media, being able to make something out of it, being able to follow our postings on social media, particularly on Facebook, where we have explained certain concepts. We had some teachings, and we kept reminding the children of the feasts, the annual feasts, the sacred feasts, the celebrations of the Sabbath, for example, that we just celebrated today from sunrise to sunset, and also to remind all children of Israel of the literature that we have in the kingdom. As you know, that we have our own scriptures in Beta EziraEl, which are not the same scriptures that you will find somewhere else. And I should like to keep emphasizing that we have on Amazon the most sacred scriptures of Beta EziraEl, the Dasasa Sambat, the most sacred writings in Beta EziraEl. That is really important for all children of Israel to come into contact and to read these scriptures here as they are, and they are meant to be in Beta EziraEl. The scriptures of Beta EziraEl are not the same scriptures that you will find among people who are not Beta EziraEl at all. So it makes a big distinct difference between the scriptures we have and the scriptures of someone else. Thank you very much. Remember also that we're following our calendar. We're keeping our calendar that we call in here the Kadase, as you can see the moon here. We call it the Kadase, which is the letter G of Beta EziraEl. And the back cover you can see that it says the letter G of Lemba Beta EziraEl, including the letter G of the 7th Sambat, which means the Sabbath has got its own liturgy. The Sabbath has got its own Sabbath rituals and Sabbath liturgy. So that is distinct from the liturgy of the other days of the week. So please get in touch with this. If you don't have a copy of these books, please try to follow our link on Amazon and try to purchase yourself a copy so that you'll be able to understand the liturgy and the calendar and all of the special feasts and even the prayers and songs that are sung at these feasts and celebrations and festivals of Beta Israel. Thank you. Today, my message is specific about certain things that I feel there are misconceptions and need to be cleared out. Yeah, one of those things that need to be cleared out today as the subject of this message is about Beta Israel people, as you have known them in different names, like some of them have been called the Lembas, particularly in the Southern African region, where we have a strong concentration of the people called Lemba, who are children of Israel from the native homeland of Israel. And we do have many of them also that are offshoots of the original groups that came out of SENA, Yemen, that are now residing in other places, but from the same root, from the same stock. And then we have the Ethiopian Beta EziraEl, which is part of this kingdom, which is the Lemba Beta EziraEl. So we try to combine, because they are one and the same people. The Lembas of Southern Africa and the Beta EziraEl, Ethiopian Israelites, are the same people. They are not any different. It's one kingdom of Lemba Beta EziraEl. So now, what we need to explain here is that there are a series of teachings that must be rendered by the kingdom with all responsibility and accountability, that the children of Israel can come to knowledge and light of these subjects that are taught through the social media, through television, through internet, through other methods of transmitting information. Now, also, we want to let you know that in the kingdom at this time, we are busy with the compilation of the Machafe Kedus, which is the Holy Scriptures of Beta Israel, that some people may call our Beta Israel Bible, but we do not use the word Bible at all. We use the word Machafe Kedus, which means the Holy Book. And so the Holy Book is now being compiled so that all children of Israel can have a copy of the original Holy Book contents as they were meant to be, and so that they would not be following any other scriptures which are not Beta Israel scriptures, like, for example, the Hebrew Bible, the Jewish Bible, the Greco-Roman Bible, the Christian Bible, all these, or the Islamic writings or anything else that is not Beta Israel will not be looked upon as Beta Israel literature whatsoever. And when it comes to the Holy Book, there is a specific Holy Book that the Beta Israel people have, which will give a real account that will be a little bit similar to what you find in the so-called Bible, but it will be very, very distinct to Beta Israel and very unique material. So I am here to explain that we are a very distinct people as called Beta Israel. And like I said in other videos, that it is not about the continent of Africa that we are identified. We are not identifying ourselves as a part of a continent, because we don't have continents in our customs and traditions as a people of Beta Israel. So the continent of Africa or the continent of America or the continent of Asia has no significance whatsoever in our culture and our sociological basis and structures and informations and our ancestral lineage and heritage has nothing to do with those denominations or institutions called continent of Africa, continent of America. Yes, so we are not going to speak about those things as an identity to us. We're going to speak about those things as institutions that have been formed for certain goals and objectives to be met. So we are not going to be saying we are citizens, we are identity of such a republic or such a continent. That is not the definition of our identity by using those institutions that I've just named right now. Yeah. So I have serious concern because there is misconception about Beta Israel people. So some of you, perhaps when I'm saying this, will be thinking that I'm talking about the Federal Republic of Ethiopia. No, I am not speaking about the Federal Republic of Ethiopia or the African Union or the African continent or American continent. I'm not speaking about that. As I said before, this is not our concern. Our concern is not to establish the identity through the institutions that I've just named. Yes, just one moment. The institutions that I've just named do not define our identity. Our identity is defined by ancestral lineage, ancestral connection, a heritage, customs and traditions of which the king of that particular nation is a custodian. And so I am hoping that this message will still complement the other messages that I put through before about how identity is defined. How do we define identity of a human being, of a person, of an individual? So therefore, the identity of Beta Israel is not resting on continents, republic of this, republic of that. It's resting on the ancestral lineage and the tracing of the common ancestor. Yes. In the case of Beta Israel, in general, the common ancestor is SENA. Before we could mention someone by the name Jacob or by the title Israel, we come to mention the existence of an ancestor called SENA. SENA is the most important ancestor here. That was even the name of the homeland itself, of the Israelites. They should be called BASENA even more than they can be called Israelites. So that is the position of Beta Israel today. We are using the word Israel, but it's preceded by the name of the common ancestor, SENA. So Israelites are BASENA people. This point must be taken, please. Wherever you are, please take note of these important points. All children of Israel around the world. Now, the topic is, today, I would like to put through is that Beta Israel, the people I just talked about right now, whose identity is not determined by the country, the continent, the republic of this, republic of that, are not Jews. Beta Israel people or BASENA people are not Jews. And the topic is, they are not Jews, therefore they are not seeking approval by the Jews to be approved as some of the Jews. So they are not Jews, one. Two, they are not looking for a Jew to approve them. Yes, I'm speaking this thing because there is an ongoing conception or whatever narrative goes around that the Beta Israel, that the people are calling Ethiopian Jews, which is not the correct definition of these people. Yes, they are BASENA or Beta Israel. As I said before, the word Israel is also preceded by SENA, the common ancestor of these people. And their homeland is in the Arabian peninsula. Yes. And so I would like to put the topic. The Beta EziraEl, Lemba Beta EziraEl people or BASENA people are not Jews. Therefore, they are not seeking Jewish approval. Yes, they're not looking for it. This point must be made very clear. Yeah, you will remember the story that at one point they were taken from Ethiopia to Israel through Operation Moses that started off in the 80s during the civil war in Ethiopia when the rebels were approaching Addis Ababa, the time of the rule of Mengistu. And as they were coming in and they were in that strange situation of civil war, there was a rescue mission that happened. And the first operation was called the Operation Moses. And then it was followed by a very successful operation called Operation SELAMUN, which took them to Israel in thousands and thousands. Yes. So, what I'm here to say now is to tell you that the operations that I've just mentioned do not justify anything about identity of the people I've just mentioned, because the identity of the people is not Jewish. They cannot be rescued by Jews who are trying to reach other Jews. No, this is a misconception. So it's not a question of Jews rescuing their Jewish brothers. No, because they're not Jews. They are Beta EziraEl. Being Beta EziraEl is not the definition of the word being a Jew. Yeah, so therefore we must get it right. Yes, who is the Jew? Well, I'm not going to go into details about who is a Jew, but I will tell you who is not a Jew. Yes. Before I can tell you a lot more about who a Jew is, I will have to tell you who is not a Jew. For example, Beta EziraEl is not a Jew. Yes. So, the people who are Jews, in one sentence or two phrases, I can say that Jews are those that have converted to the religion called Judaism. And this has nothing to do with our ancestral lineage as a people. It's just an organization called Judaism religion, just like you have any other religion as an organization. Yes, it has got no binding on our identity and our ancestral trace and identity as a people. As I said in other videos, that the identity is resting on the birth of a person, of a human being. Someone has to be born within a people to identify with that people. Yeah, so in this case, the religions are not an identity of any man. They are simply organizations that have been formed with a certain objective or a certain goal to achieve certain objectives and aims. But this has nothing to do with identifying a human being, where he's coming from, what is his lineage, what is his heritage. Yes. Israel that are called Ethiopian Jews, and even the Lembas that are called Lemba Jews of Southern Africa are not Jewish. This is not the right definition of these people. I said that before, that they are BASENA people, because the common ancestor is SENA, and this SENA is located in the southern Arabian peninsula, where we have Yemen and Saudi Arabia today. I'm going to read a little document here about this settlement and this homeland of this people. In brief, I will read it. Where they came from, where did they settle, where do we find this place today, where they literally came from, not the modern state of Israel. Yes. So here we have a place called Najran, which is in Saudi Arabia. And remember that in our Ethiopian chronicles and also in Beta EziraEl oral tradition, Yemen that you know today was actually called Najran. And we find a name very similar to that one of a Najran region near the Yemeni border with Saudi Arabia. So I'm going to read a little bit about the homeland, the true homeland of these people that are called BASENA, and whose name Israel is preceded by the name SENA. Yeah, so therefore I read from here according to our oral traditions, and we have identified this place between the borders of Saudi Arabia and Yemen. Yes. So I have written here to summarize this homeland's location and said the highest stretch from Hejaz, that is 200 miles south of Mecca, to the Najran region near the Yemeni border, has acquired the name of Asir, which is Israel's promised land. Not modern state of Israel. No. Asir is in Saudi Arabia and Yemen neighborhoods. The high plateau of Asir, within the area watered by the Indian Ocean monsoon, is more fertile than the rural Hejaz. The name Tihama is used for the whole Red Sea coastal plain and is sometimes subdivided into Tihama al-Hijaz and Tihamat Asir. The Tihama in Yemen is broader and more habitable than the Tihama further north in Saudi Arabia. Monsoon rains make the mountains and high plateaus of Yemen the most fruitful region in Arabia. The easy slope from the highlands to the southwestern corner of the Rub al-Khali, which means the third quarter, was the principal home of the pre-Islamic civilization of southern Arabia. And the ruins of the Marib Dam, the greatest monument of that age, still stands there today. The seaward descent from the mountains of Al-Kaur at the southern end of Yemen is dangerously steep. The harbor of Aden is formed by two volcanic peninsulas of the lowland below the southern mountain face of Yemen. Eastward, the mountains of Kaur merge the highlands of Hadramaut, known as the Jaul, which means the plateau. The plateau, that is the Arabic name for plateau, Al-Jaul. Hadramaut is a great interior valley cleaving through the Jaul, which is the plateau, with its lower course reaching the sea under the name Wadi al-Masila. You remember in the Lemba oral tradition, the BASENA people's oral tradition, they say, we cross Masila. We cross Masila. In the interior, the sand desert of Ramalt and Al-Batain lies on the slope descending from the Al-Kaur to the Rub al-Khali. The Rub al-Khali. Thank you very much. This is the true homeland of the BASENA, and now that we call Beta EziraEl today, or Lemba Beta EziraEl today, whose name Israel is preceded by the name SENA of the common ancestor of these people, and the land in Yemen that is called Najran in Ethiopian language, or in the Gez language of these people, they are Gazan tribes, is in the Gez language is called the region is called SENA. Yeah, it's named after the ancestor. So the whole homelands around the area, like for example Zafar, which is near the city of SENA now, which is the present capital of Yemen, is Zafar, is also the land of SENA. So the whole area is the land of the ancestor SENA. There is nothing that is not called SENA over there. And so we are going to explain the point clearly that Beta Israel people, or BASENA, who are the Israelites, the true native Israelites, are not a Jewish people of the religion of Judaism as their identity. No. If they want to become Jews, they need to convert to the religion of Judaism, which is not a requirement for attaining their identity or restoring their identity. It is another shift to something new completely, has nothing to do with them. Yeah, we are saying this because there is a story that goes around that Israel, the modern Israel, state of Israel, Republic of Israel, which is a colonial institution, the name of a colonial institution. Remember, I say that all republics or states or countries are colonial structures. They are not the identity of a human being or a person or a natural person. They are just organizations, and all these people who call themselves citizens of that are members of a club. They're members of an organization. This is not their identity. This is not their ancestral lineage. Yeah, this must be understood very well. So, the religion of Judaism people can convert to that religion at their own choice, just like they could convert to Christianity or to Hinduism or to Islam. This has got nothing to do with who they are. Yes. So then someone said, the Jews have been found in Ethiopia, talking about Beta Israel, the children of SENA, the BASENA people, the native Israelites' descendants, saying, now the Jews recognize them as Jews because it is said that they are from the tribe of Dan. So this is why the operation takes them back to Israel, to their homeland. This is the position that we've been hearing from all sources, saying that the tribe of Dan happened to be found in Ethiopia, and the Jews are collecting all the tribes to bring them back home to Israel so that it could be a restoration process or the ambition of all Jews to be returned to their homeland, which obviously is not correct about those people at all. I am the king of Beta Israel, and I know what I'm talking about because I'm here to protect and to be a custodian of our customs and traditions as a people. This is what the kingdom is all about. That's what the king's duty and accountability is, to protect, to be a custodian of the customs and traditions of a people, of a kingdom. Yes, I'm not speaking about a state, a country, a republic. No, that is not identity. That is a membership of an organization. Yes. A membership of an organization is not your identity. Your identity is determined by common ancestry and ancestral lineage tracing, which will take you to a certain common ancestor with language, tradition, custom, and all culture in general that will be associated with that particular lineage. Yeah. So, what I will do is to explain that all this information that we've been told, that a certain Jewish tribe has been found in Ethiopia from the tribe of Dan and to be taken to Israel as being taken home, is absolutely incorrect. Absolutely. First of all and foremost, these people are not a Jewish people. They can only become a Jewish people if they convert to the religion of Judaism. 2, they are not looking for approval of somebody else about their identity. They're not saying, I think I'm a Jew. Can you approve me so that I can be accepted? Can you approve me with authoritative authority over this identity of mine to make it legal and authentic so that everyone else can believe that I am a Jew? or so that I can also be convinced that I'm a Jew because of your approval power, the power to approve a Jew that you have. Yes. So they cannot be approved to be who they are, depending on the approval of a Jewish people, or people from a Jewish organization, or from a Jewish religion, or from a Jewish temple, or from a Jewish synagogue. No, it's incorrect. It's incorrect. So they are recognized. So someone came to me and said to me, King Solomon, I'm here to tell you that you should be grateful that your people have been recognized as Jews. Oh, what a great favor they have done to them. They did not reject them like they rejected other people. Like maybe the Nigerian Jews have not been taken in to Israel like the Ethiopian Jews have been taken. And so your people have been favored greatly. Why are you not grateful? I said, first of all, they are not Jews, so they will not be seeking for approval by the Jews to authenticate that these are the real Jews so that no one will doubt their identity as Jews. No, this is completely incorrect statement. Yeah, it's not like that. So the operations of Solomon, the operation of Moses to take them to Israel as the homeland and a dream come true is all not correct. It's incorrect. It was never needed. It is based on a very flawed information. Yes. First of all, that land is not even the real homeland because the homeland is in the Arabian peninsula. It's not in Palestine. So why will they be taken to the homeland which is not their homeland really? You know. Our oral traditions clearly say we are from SENA. SENA is not located in Palestine. Okay? If any one of our people had gone to Palestine, they had gone to a foreign land and they needed to return, like they did in our tradition, they returned with Kimbuba. If ever they went there at all. Again, we need to prove that they ever been estranged and went to the wrong place and they had to come back to Yemen in SENA to their real homeland. Yeah. So the narrative that says that the Jews are rescuing their Jewish brothers from Ethiopia to take them to Israel as a dream come true of the children of Israel returning to the promised land is incorrect. They are not looking for approval to confirm their identity. No, they're not. Even if the Jewish identity was their identity, let's just put this debate aside for a moment. Let's assume that being Jewish is the real identity that these people are into. Still, it will not be absolutely necessary who has the power among all the Jewish brothers to approve them or not to approve them. Yeah, I don't understand why the authority of approving is so important here. If they are all Jewish brothers, it's not a question of a brother approving another brother. It's a question of brothers reminding each other of their realities. Yeah. It's not a question of a brother approving another brother because he has got a higher authority of approval of their identity. No. I have got brothers here who are Beta EziraEl, brothers from the family, from this kingdom. Sometimes I have certain things that I don't remember well. And my brother said, okay, my king, we want to remind you of something. Maybe you have forgotten it. I said, bring it on. Bring it on. They bring it on. And I say, thank you for reminding us of our realities. Yes, this is what they should have done. If the identity was Jewish, the Jewish brothers should have said, my brother, don't forget where we came from. Not my brother, I'm approving you to be your brother today. Before I approved you, you were not, because I didn't know you. It's impossible. The history is not the same. There are two different types of people. Those are Turkic Mongolian, the Eastern from Eastern Europe, Mongolian mix, Russian, Ukraine. Has nothing to do with the history of Beta Israel people with their Ethiopian background. Yeah, even the land of Midian, which was very close to Asir, which is the promised land, was in the southern Arabia. It was never in Palestine. Yeah. The Jerusalem that you hear about, where Melchizedek was a king, was not in the Palestine, was in the southern Arabian peninsula near Midian, which is part of what is Yemen now and Saudi Arabia in modern times. Names. So I'm here to clear misconceptions completely that the children of SENA or BASENA people or Beta Israel or Israelites native descendants are not people of a Jewish religion to be identified as such, as the religion of Judaism as an identity. No. Here is the Tasasa Sambat, the most sacred writings in Beta Israel. This is not a Jewish Bible. This is the sacred writings that found a foundation of their scriptures before we get the whole compilation of the Mashafikadus, the Holy Book. The Tasasa Sambat is the most sacred of that book. Yes. We have it here in standard English, so it's no excuse. I don't understand gas, so how will I know? No, you can understand because it's written in the English language. It's just a medium of communication. It's not about cultivating British culture here. It's about communicating with everybody in a language that many people can understand. Because this is the idea of communication. Yes, to try to break barriers of communication. Thank you so much, my people. I have tried to clear this, but you still can ask questions. Put questions below this video and try to understand why the label or the understanding of us as Jewish is not correct, and that the operations of taking the children of Beta Israel to Israel, the modern state of Israel, is also not correct. It's not based on the real truth of the origins of the people and their dreams of going home. It has got nothing to do with that arrangement. Someone will say they saved them from trouble. Well, that is not the real apocalypse. The real apocalypse was to have a glorious return to the homeland, which is correct. Yes. Not the wrong places with the wrong people, in the wrong language called Hebrew, which is not the language of Beta Israel whatsoever, and the Bible that they have written, which has distorted some of our books. We are compiling the whole Mashafikadus to expose all these distortions that were done by foreign nations, including the Jews, to put that together, to put it correctly as it was meant to be originally written, from Ge'ez translations, from Ge'ez to English translations, so that we can get the right book with the right literature and stop following the copies that were made by others and distortions that were made by others. We have so many distortions of our scriptures here. I can give many examples, but I don't have much time, but I can give a few examples. For example, they say that when Moses was going to set the children free in Egypt, which also is not called, there's no place called Egypt in our scriptures, you know. It's called Gebetz because it was where they were growing barley. And so therefore the place of barley is where Moses' people were, and he was going to set them free, sent by the Most High of Israel. They said that the Most High was looking for Moses to kill him. Can you imagine how stupid this statement is? The Most High sends Moses to the children in Gebetz or Beta Israel who had no king. Yes, Moses was going to be their king and then their high priest at the same time. This is according to Melchizedek's order of priesthood. to become their king and their high priest and lead them to this land, which is in the southern Arabian peninsula, on the border with Yemen and Saudi Arabia today. And for that reason, he became king and high priest. Yes, to take them there. Yes, to take them there. And so we are saying, let us get it right. Let us not follow the distortion. So they said that when Moses was preparing to go, he was at a dwelling somewhere with his children. And then God, or the Most High, was looking for him, wanting to kill him. Does it make sense? The Most High is sending somebody to go and set his people free in Gebet, or in Egypt, as you call it. And then he wants to kill him at the same time. Guess what? It's incorrect. In our Machafe Kufale, Metzahafe Kufale, which is called Book of Jubilee, it states very clearly that it was not the Most High who wanted to kill Moses. Because it doesn't even make sense. Just common sense will tell you that this is wrong. Yeah, it was Masedema who wanted to kill Moses. The enemy of the Most High came to try and destroy the person that the Most High was sending to his people to free his people. Not the Most High himself killing his messenger. Oh my God. It's here in the Tesasa Sabbath that it was Mastema who wanted to kill him. All right? Not the Most High wanting to kill him. I'm just giving you an example that they distorted our writings about our people, our heroes, our characters, like Moses. Moses. Yeah. Okay. There are so many examples I can give you. Yes. Zipporah circumcising her firstborn child. No way. We don't have women circumcising their children, their male children whatsoever. They don't. Yes. So the story, I think they got it from the Near Eastern culture, where there is a goddess of fertility who is having the firstborn as a sacrifice, because they use human sacrifices. We don't use human sacrifices in Beta Israel. That's why Christianity doesn't make sense to us, because we don't sacrifice a human being. Yes. So we cannot have a human being dying to set us free from sin. No. This is not Beta Israel culture. It's Roman Catholic. Yes. Other gods, maybe Near Eastern gods. There was a Near Eastern god, I think I remember well, called Zifra, who was the goddess of fertility. Yes, it was a woman. Yeah, a female god called Zifra, very similar to the name Zipporah, who was the goddess of fertility, and the sacrifice of the firstborn was consumed by this goddess. Yeah, that's probably how they distorted our writings in the Machafe Kufale, which is the Book of Jubilees. It was Mastema, not the Most High, who wanted to kill Moses, and it was not Zipporah who circumcised. The Zipporah cannot circumcise her son. Never. Only a goddess of fertility from Near East can have a sacrifice of the firstborn of an Israelite as invasion, as apostasy, as evil coming to us. Yes. Salam, salam, my people. This is the truth. I will be speaking again in another section about circumcision, what it means. So to clear misconceptions again. Lemba Beta EziraEl are not Jews. Jews are converts to a religion called Judaism, and this has nothing to do with the identity of our people. Salam, salam. This is King BINYAM SELAMUN, King of Lemba Beta EziraEl, speaking from my royal courts. Salam, salam. All Dikige. Lemba Beta EziraEl.